Well, that took forever because apparently my internet decided to crap out during this whole thing. It was going from green to red to green to yellow to red to, just a mess, Wonderful. But we are all green now, so we are good. My name is Zach Lyons. This is at FWordsPod. We have Justin Graver over here. This is the Fantasy Overtime, so bear with us as we get through this little bit of a technical glitch, but I think we're good. Justin? Good. You think we're good?
Right. Seems fine to me. Looks like I hear you. Do you hear me?
I hear you. We're good. So we got
We're
17
live,
people in the chat. We'll let people come in. Sharing down below, 3 little dots or the little retweet. And here I go right now. Let's get that done. Let's get it out there because we have tons of fantasy questions. It's COVID season, apparently, and games are being rescheduled and everything. How will that affect certain star players? Could other players on these later games that get rescheduled test positive tomorrow? They could. It's a risk. We don't know. So let's get started here. Let's going to go through the sit-start real quick. Who's out and who's in? Cam Newton, out. That means that the Chiefs are going to rock the Patriots because the Patriots are not going to be any good tomorrow. Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, Marshawn Lattimore, Janoris Jenkins, Marcus Davenport, all 4 of the New Orleans Saints are out. Drew Brees, once again, is going to be struggling this week, while the Lions wide receivers are going to have a field day. Matt Stafford, everybody, TJ Hawkinson, just roll out everybody but the running backs and you'll be fine. Leonard Fournette today is out. Ronald Jones will finally have his second big game of the season. He has yet to put it together except for that first game. This is it. Roll him out. Deebo Samuel in. George Kittle in. Jimmy G out. That means Nick Mullins is up. Big Dick Nick, roll him out there if you feel that you need to. Jamal Adams out. This just makes an already bad pass defense even worse. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Devontae Parker, start him up. Raheem Mostert is out again. Jeff Wilson, we're good to go. Kareem Hunt is playing. I would say that Kareem Hunt owners stock up, but I would say that probably it doesn't really affect too much right now that I would really be too concerned with it. DeAndre Hopkins, after being limited or missing practice all week, is playing. He's a risk, but Kyler Murray is a go because that means him and Christian Kirk are both out there. Steven Sims Jr. is out. Nobody cares. Joe Mixon is in. That means that although that Gio Bernard waiver dollars or waiver priority you're spent, your stock is down. Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey out again. Of course, stock down Carson Wentz. Could Carson Wentz's stock be any lower anyway? Alan Lazard is out. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is up. MVS. Keep an eye on Devontae Adams. This could be a tricky one. So what stands out to you, Justin, as we get started here?
Well, you kind of mentioned it, but the Lions, I'm all in on the Lions wide receivers this week. Matt Stafford, I mean, you said it all. Marvin Jones, I think that's his. As you'll see on the board behind me, it's breakout day. Marvin Jones is one of my breakout guys today. Roll out all your Lions. And also, same as we saw last week against the Packers, Alvin Kamara is going to be Drew Brees' entire life today, just dumping off, hoping he can pick up yards.
Well, we got some good questions coming in, but so before we get to the questions, tell us about Breakout Day. You have some breakout candidates, right?
I don't know how you guys are feeling today about some of these guys that you may have drafted in the mid to high rounds of your drafts, but today is Breakout Day for Marquise Brown, Marvin Jones, DJ Moore, Devontae Parker, Devin Singletary, Ronald Jones. Some of these guys have had decent days, but none of them have really had your league-winning day yet. I think all these guys are getting in the end zone and having big days today. They should all be heavily involved in their attacks, playing against suspect defenses. Roll them out confidently, baby. It's Breakout Day. Get ready for the breakouts.
You'd mentioned before we got started, Kenyon Drake and Joe Mixon. You believe those are going to be some breakout days?
I'm a little worried, but only because
we've been on the Mixon train for a while.
It's Breakout Day, baby. Roll Mixon, roll Drake. Here we go. I've got them both in a couple FanDuel lineups because I think you can really go against the chalk by playing those kind of guys. So let's do it.
Let's get to the questions. We have the first question. Look, we're showing questions on the screen. Isn't that fancy?
That is cool.
Ryan Watson, how confident are we that the Chiefs and Pats will play?
Well, they apparently are officially scheduled to play Monday Night Football. That's the latest news. I mean, if we wake up tomorrow and 5 players test positive for the Pats or something, then that's not going to happen. But I would put myself at a 6 out of 10 right now. I would probably have backup plan. The problem is they're playing Monday night. So if you're like intending to play Mahomes, you have to decide before the games start today. So that's tough.
How do you feel about certain leagues allowing you to play Patrick Mahomes, but if he is out, they'll let you sub in somebody?
No, I don't like that.
I'm against it too. I think I'm approaching this like it's questionable, right? So if someone's questionable, you have to take the risk. And I am with you. I'm out. It's happening in one of my leagues, and my big money league. They're letting you submit a COVID roster and a regular roster, which I am not all about. As far as confidence that the Chiefs and Pats will play, I'm with you, but I think I'm a 5 out of 10. Like, I'm 50% just because Cam Newton did touch the ball all week at practice, not showing any kind of signs of symptoms apparently, but that can start something. So we'll have to see. Let's go to the next question from Kenneth Crawl. Should I dump all Titans players before they sink my season? No. You got to keep Henry. You got to keep Tannehill and A.J. Brown. And Jonnu, probably, if you're mandatory tight end, keep him.
He's the number 1 tight end right now.
Yeah. Corey Davis, you could let him go. But if you're rostering any more Titans other than that, you got more issues than just having Titans players on your roster.
I mean, just because the Titans are in the COVID whatever protocols right now, it doesn't mean that they're not going to play again. I mean, week 5 may be in jeopardy, but after that, you don't even have to worry about a bye week. Like, you can roll them out week 6 through 16 without a worry.
Yeah, and, the Bills aren't a great matchup anyway. We'll see a little bit more about the Bills today. But they're not a great
suspect.
Yes, but they're not a fantastic
run
matchup. So, like Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith. I mean, obviously you're keeping Derrick Henry. I mean, that's just – I think it's more the people that you may stream or the guy on your roster like A.J. Brown that you spent a high draft pick on probably and you haven't seen the field yet. So that's just more and more lack of time from A.J. Brown. That investment when at one point he was like wide receiver 10 – then he dropped down to wide receiver 20. It's looking that investment's looking a little rough.
Well, it's not breakout day for A.J. Brown, unfortunately.
All right. So Robert says, Mark Ingram or Gio Bernard, fire your roster into the sun.
I am all aboard the Ravens train today. I think you'll be all right with Mark Ingram today. The Ravens are going to be up by 20 points going into the second half. Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins are just going to 3-headed steamroll the Washington football team in the second half. The Ravens are going to
hoping for a Dobbins breakout, but
it's possible.
I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, it depends on how much they're like, let's give the rookie some work because we're winning by 20 points versus how much they're like, let's prove to the world that last week against the Chiefs was a fluke and win by 50. I could see them doing that.
Okay, next question. I know it's been announced, but should I start Fitzmagic over Mahomes? I think you should.
Yeah.
I think that Mahomes, they got a good pass defense still in New England, so it's kind of up in the air. I mean, Fitzmagic's going up in Seattle without Jamal Adams, and he's for sure playing, right? Like, it's that little bit. Here's the question. Let's say that Mahomes does play. How many more points will Mahomes score over Fitzmagic that it's worth the risk?
Will he? The Seahawks are allowing 420 yards passing per game. Like, the Seahawks are historically bad as a pass defense. If this was like, should I start Nick Foles over Mahomes, then maybe I'm like, that's a really tough question. But to me, Fitzmagic is one of the best like streaming plays that we'll see this season just because of the matchup.
Will he be quarterback one this weekend?
He probably won't be quarterback one, but he'll probably be the most played quarterback in daily fantasy.
Wrong. He will be quarterback one. Put it up on the wall because I am betting it quarterback one.
All right.
All right. McLaurin or Gallup, 0.5 PPR. That's tough.
Gallup.
Probably McLaurin for me.
Gallup is
Scary Terry.
One bad OPI call away from being a great play 2 out of 3 weeks so far this year. That OPI call really sunk his week 1 score. McLaurin, I mean, if Kyle Allen gets put in at halftime, maybe, but that is honestly the only hope for McLaurin to me. Or they're just
Will it not be
crushed.
Alex Smith?
I doubt Alex Smith can play safely. I think Gallup is still a safe play, and the Browns have been horrible against the pass, so yeah. I'm pretty much in on the Cowboys. I know you're like, which Cowboy do you go with? But I think all 3 are safe.
Yeah, I'm going to lean towards Scary Terry just because they'll be playing from behind, so the opportunity's there. Steven Sims is gone. It is what it is. It's not a sexy matchup, but I think the opportunity presents itself to be, at least in a PPR format, probably really, really good. In non-PPR, we got Griffin right here. Non-PPR with wide receiver 2 and the flex. Which 2 should I play? Kenny Golladay, Devontae Parker, and OBJ. And based on your injuries, it's Kenny Golladay and Devontae Parker. No doubt in my mind.
I agree, no doubt in your mind. OBJ is like a sneaky sleeper this week who could have a good day against a very bad Cowboys pass defense, but you can't bench either of those other 2 guys for him.
Yeah. You can't take that risk that the pass rush is finally going to find the quarterback in Dallas and they're going to get after Baker. So that's I think OBJ still is sneaky, but I'm all aboard the Kenny Golladay, Devontae Parker. I mean, the Saints don't have Janoris Jenkins. They don't have Marcus Davenport, and they don't have
Marshawn Lattimore.
That's huge. It's going to be a field day for the Lions. We have right here the Brody, Mixon, Hunt, Montgomery. Start 2, sit 1. Who are you taking?
Mixon and Hunt. I mean, Montgomery. That's just so. This is not easy. I mean, this has been disappointing for you, I'm sure, this season. But Joe Mixon is due at some point to break out. The Jags defense is terrible. Kareem Hunt seems to be healthy and will play against a bad Cowboys defense. The Colts actually have a good defense. And I don't know. Montgomery hasn't really impressed anyone, right? He had a nice catch and run touchdown, I guess. But
Montgomery's like a turkey sandwich. You'll eat it if you have to, but that's not going to be your first choice. And it's very plain. It's very boring. And Montgomery, like I said in the beginning of the year, is just a guy. He's just a running back who just does not live up to the hype. I didn't think he was going to be anything really good. I know Tariq Cohen's not playing, but they're already bringing in Lamar Miller and stuff. Like, I don't know. I just wait on David Montgomery, see what it looks like without Tariq Cohen back there, and see what Nick Foles is and what this offense is. I would just kind of not worry about it right now.
I think Cordero Patterson is the one who's going to get more touches with Tariq Cohen out, not David Montgomery.
All right. Final question, unless we got more questions coming in. So shoot us some more questions if you got them. Last one. So Travis Kelce owners should look elsewhere?
Yes. I have Travis Kelce in a league, and I benched him. I have Travis Kelce and Jonnu Smith in one league, so I had to pick up Jimmy Graham and hope for the best in that league. I'm benching Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a couple leagues just because I'm not confident at all. So if you have a better option, I mean, if like maybe you can pick up Robert Tonyan or something and see if you have a chance to play him tonight when we might have a little bit more info. But honestly, like, I'm pretty scared to play any Patriots or Chiefs.
Yeah, you got to see who's on the waiver wire because, first off, if you're mandatory tight end, you need to be looking at the Packers-Falcons game. There could be owners that gave up on Hayden Hurst, and was Jimmy Graham up in Green Bay?
Jimmy Graham's in Chicago.
Oh, they have a guy, Segura or something, some weird last name up in
Robert
Green Bay.
Tonyan is a guy that
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Is a rookie who just like got some play and he had a nice breakout sort of week last week.
Yeah. So maybe those two guys, if they're probably on the waiver wire, you're going to have to pick one of those guys up, but it's not sexy, but I would probably go with Travis Kelce and hope that they just play. And if not, just pick up one of those two guys. Probably not the best, the analytics or data probably don't back that up, but to me it's like, I don't know, something got to give, right?
The only thing is, like, are you going to pick up a guy who's only going to score 1 or 2 or 0 points anyway, in which case you might as well just hope that Travis Kelce in the game goes forward? That might be the best case scenario, but just because it's the tight end position as opposed to anything else. Like quarterback, Mahomes, you're giving up 20-something points there. But even Kelce could have like a 4-point week, and how much does that really hurt you?
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing with tight ends. So, other than that, I think the questions are done. One last piece of fantasy advice. If Damian Harris is out on your waivers, pick him up. He will be playing, and I think that we're seeing the final days of Sony Michel in New England. He skipped out on media day and skipped out on a press conference. From everything we've heard, Damian Harris was really a standout in the offseason before he broke his thumb. I think Sony Michel's on the outs there. Something to keep an eye on. So I think I would pick up Damian Harris if you got the roster spot to do so. Last minute fantasy advice from you, Justin, before we head out.
It's on the screen behind you. Trust in the guys you drafted. Don't give up too early. I'm looking at Joe Mixon highlights behind you because he's going to play today. My last minute advice is don't get cute and worry and try to play some guy. Don't be chasing points from last week on someone who has limited opportunities like Andy Isabella, who scored 2 touchdowns but played fewer snaps than that other guy that they had, Keyshawn Johnson, and now Christian Kirk's coming back this week. So don't go chasing points like that. Stick to your guns. Trust what you evaluated preseason. A lot of guys are going to bounce back sooner than later.
Carlos Hyde is officially inactive, by the way, if you're still with us. So officially inactive. So it's Chris Carson's show today with Rashad Penny backing him up.
Is Chris Carson not injured?
Nope. Well, he is, but he's active. He was across the screen on there,
Carson's
too.
Carson's suspected to start. Okay.
So other than that, this has been the Fantasy Overtime, and we are out of time.